All right, guys, we are going to wrap up this project today. So, I hope you had time to Sharpie everything. If you didn't, then obviously stop this video and go ahead and finish Sharpieing. And then once you are done, you got to make sure that you erase all of that extra pencil out from underneath all those letters. It just really helps clean everything up. Make sure you're doing this with your magic rub and not with a pencil eraser. It'll just take too long. All right, I'm going to shake off mine into my garbage. Okay, so how are we going to paint this? So if you looked at some of my examples that I provided you earlier on, you might have seen that we, in the past, had watercolored the face. And as much as like they turned out kind of cool, they also sort of looked like we sometimes had a little disease or were a little too sunburned. So we're going to actually leave the head the way it is, and we are going to paint the background. And you're going to choose your colors based on your words and your personality type. If you are more of a chill, laid back, maybe passive person, meaning you kind of hang out in the background and let somebody else take the lead, then you're going to choose more, and you like quiet, you like to read things that are a little bit more individualized, then you're going to choose your cool colors, your blues, your purples, your turquoises, and a little bit of green. And then if you are spunky, energetic, outgoing, like to be the life of the party, always moving, then you're going to choose our warm colors, our reds, our yellows, pinks, oranges, etc. Okay? So you really kind of take a minute, if you pause if you need to, and think about which one describes you. I'm kind of right in the middle. I really like my me time, my alone time, quiet, but I also am very outgoing. I like to get out there. I like to be creative. I'm pretty loud. So I'm going to stick, I think I would probably lean more to the warm colors than I do to the cool colors, but I did take a second to really choose which one I think best describes me. Can you use both? I'm going to say no for this one. If you use both, we're going to end up with a rainbow in the background, and we're not going to get quite the effect that we're going for with this project and understanding our words. We're all a rainbow. Everybody in the world kind of makes up the rainbow with all of what we bring to society. But typically when we make rainbow-like things on art projects, they tend to take away a little bit of the meaning, and we tend to really just look at the color and the rainbowness to it. So I want to make sure that we keep that meaning alive with what we were trying to accomplish by making your self-portrait here. Okay, so I've got my paintbrush, I've got my water, I've got my paints, I have some paper towel just in case in the background as well. All right, so the nice part is your head kind of creates its own little void in itself. You just got to be really careful not to get water inside there, otherwise the paint will start to bleed onto your face. I am going to work top down, and basically I'm going to take my paintbrush, and I'm just going to start by wetting all of my warmer colors. So my example is warm colors, but you obviously can use cool colors. So I'm just putting a little bit of water in all of those warm colors that I might use. So you'll do the same thing if you're going to do the cool colors. Remember, your cool colors are those blues, those icier colors, okay? So then I'm going to take my brush, and I'm going to go ahead and just paint a light layer of water across the top section of my paper. I just got a drip in the middle of my head, but that one should be okay. Okay, we're just using, kind of tracing around the outside of our head, kind of like hot lava. All right, so I'm just worried about the top part of my paper, and then I'm going to go ahead and start dropping in my color and watching it spread. So this, remember, if you remember from previous years in art class with me, this is called wet into wet, meaning we're letting the paint spread with water and kind of mix in on its own. Mine isn't doing as much as I want to right now. I need to pick up a little bit more color. There we go. So I'm using this kind of magenta color. I think it's supposed to be red-violet technically. And then I'm going to go grab the yellow because I like what happens when the yellow mixes in. It kind of makes its own orange in between there. But I could go and pick up the regular red and drop that in as well. But you do have to work fast. If you don't work fast, your paper is going to dry and you're going to lose that ability to kind of let it sort of tie-dye on its own. And then I'm using water to kind of help naturally mix it together and kind of go around the edges of my head, making sure that it's all mixed nicely. Okay, so now I'm going to start moving my way down. So I need to wet the next section. So I'm just using my plain paintbrush, but some of the color is coming with as I pull down. That's okay. Getting some white spaces wet where they weren't before. So again, pulling down the water down my page, just another chunk, and then going back in and dropping in those colors. So use like, probably maximum 4 colors. If you use too many, it can get a little too crazy. Need a little bit more pink to break up this orange section over here. There, even that little bit helps. And then again, you can mix a little bit, but don't overmix. Kind of let it be. If you let it do its thing, it's going to look a lot more tie-dyed in the end than if you kind of over rub with your paintbrush. And remember, over rubbing with your paintbrush, you're going to end up with some rough spots on your paper that you're not going to enjoy. All right, so again, I'm wetting my paper, working my way down. Sprinkling in the color, letting it spread on its own. Make sure you're rinsing your brush in between colors so that you don't contaminate your paint colors. You want to keep your paint palette as clean as possible. All right, so I'm working my way down. I'm underneath the chin. I've got to be careful here not to get it in my chin. So I'm creating that border with the water and pulling down. All right, and I'm getting pretty close. As you can tell, this is not going to take you super long today. If it's taking you a long time, you're most likely taking too long to do it. And that means that you're going to end up with some kind of bleeding areas that don't work as well, and that might be a little more splotchy and less tie-dye-y. All right, and I'm on my last section, adding that water. It's a little dry where I put down that last orange. So I'm going to have to break up this orange chunk at the bottom, but that's okay. And you're going to notice your paper is going to start to curl a little bit because it's wet. It will be okay. Don't panic. All right, so I went in. All right, and I need a little bit more yellow, I think, to break this up. But it's looking pretty good overall. And I'm really excited about it. I think this was a good call this year to switch it up and do our background instead of our head. It keeps the head nice and crisp. It really emanates the book cover a lot. And I do think it brings out my personality. Now, there's one more thing you need to do. I do want you to color your eye. So whatever eye color you have, I kind of have a bluey green color. That's what I want you to drop in. If you've got brown eyes, go ahead and put some brown in there. But go ahead and maybe mix that color on your side if you need to make it look as close to your eye color as you want it to before you put it on. I need a little bit of green in mine too. All right, and then I'm going to carefully drop that in. Notice that I'm not touching the rest of my paper. I don't want to accidentally smudge all of my warm colors. Okay, but I went ahead and I colored in my eye, and that's kind of the icing on the cake, right? It really finishes it off. So hopefully yours turned out as nice as mine did today. If it didn't, don't panic. The nice part is like you can stop. stop and let it dry and then pick it back up again. But what I don't want you to do is try to overpaint. Okay, we are gentle with our paintbrush. We work fast. We use the water to help pull our paints down. We do not over rub. Your paintbrush is not a hairbrush. Your goal is to tickle the top of the paper, not to brush through it, okay? All right, have a good one. I cannot wait to see these guys. They're going to be awesome. Oh, one more thing. I totally forgot. When your paper, it's going to curl as it dries even more. When it's fully dry, grab some heavy books and go ahead and put them on top just to flatten your paper out. It will help you when you go to take your picture for Artsonia. If you need to, you can always add a little tape to the bottom half and put that down when you take your picture and then quickly take it off so it doesn't stick too much. But make sure you're not taking your picture with the paper it's all curled. It just doesn't turn out very nice. All right, that's it for today. Good job, guys.